No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mindell. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
The best way to respond to a 3-game losing streak is by winning consecutive games in a row. Even better would be winning 3 in a row, but we'll wait till Thursday to see if that happens. But for now, on the back of Laurent Brossoit's exquisite performance, a performance that Jets fans and Brossoit himself have been waiting for all season, the Winnipeg Jets, victorious tonight on home ice against the Kings of Corsi, the Carolina Hurricanes. Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Alongside Dave Manouk, I'm your host, Drew Mindell, here to talk about the Jets' victory. Mr. Ginsburg not with us. He's suffering from another rare disease that I can't think of right now, because I already used Legionnaire's disease earlier this year, and I think I used scurvy last year. So for the time being, as he's just away with some mysterious black plague, if we will, Dave.
Sure. Okay, yeah. Well, that's fine. We don't require notes when you're missing Illegal Curve post-game shows or the Illegal Curve Saturday show. We generally tell each other why we're not going to be somewhere, but hey, that's fine.
We're here. That's all that matters. We're here, and all these good folks that are joining us tonight are here as well. Jets with the 2-1 victory. An entertaining game, Dave, that wasn't a beauty by any stretch of the imagination, and the Hurricanes certainly probably deserved a better fate in tonight's contest than they received. But when one team gets goaltending and the other team doesn't, that is what you end up with in tonight's result.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't blame Ranta on any of the goals against. I would say that the Jets got exceptional goaltending. I think the quality start issue will not be one for this game for Laurent Brossoit, as we've noted in some of these comments. Highway Bros robbery. Well, I kind of paraphrased it a little bit, but ultimately, I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, we were joking in the press box because every time the Jets looked like they were going to get a shot on net on Antti Ranta, they didn't. They missed, and so they didn't have a shot, of course, for the first 17. There was 16-28, whatever it was. It was a ridiculous.
Almost.
It was a ridiculous.
16 and a half minutes. Yeah,
it was 16-28, I believe, when they took their first shot, and that was, of course. And it's funny because, like I said, and you can ask. I will at Mike McIntyre of the Winnipeg Free Press. I said to him, with the way the Jets are being outshot, they're for sure scoring the first goal. I didn't know if they were going to win the game or not, but you just had a feeling that with the way it was going, with the fact that Laurent Brossoit was playing the way he was, and yeah, you can say that the Hurricanes, who do similar to the Florida Panthers, take a lot of shots, and it's not necessarily the high danger shots, not necessarily, but there's a high volume, and that's I guess an indication that they control the puck a lot, which they did in that first 75% of that first period, but. I mean, the fact is that the most important thing that the Jets needed was a couple of things. One, you want to give Connor Hellebuyck a little bit of a break. Even though the Jets' schedule has not been particularly taxing, Drew, you wanted to know that the top goaltender of the Jets was going to get a little bit of time off. Well, he will now have that. He played Saturday. He will not play again until Thursday when he has an important start against the Colorado Avalanche. And now you've got Laurent Brossoit feeling really good about his game. And he looked confident, and he did everything he needed to do in this hockey game, I thought, regardless of whether you think that, and again, we'll go over the stats and how many high danger chances he faced and that sort of thing. But ultimately, from a goaltender's perspective, and I'm no goaltender, but from a goaltender's perspective, when you make 40 plus saves in an NHL hockey game, you're feeling pretty, and your team comes up with the W, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. So the production of the top line was excellent. There were a lot of chances for those guys, but again, today's victory to me is all about Laurent Brossoit.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, he's the first star in tonight's game, and it was not a difficult choice to make when you choose Brossoit first overall. He was that good for the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, he was good throughout the entirety of the 60 minutes, but think about where this game would have been had he, started slow like the rest of his Jets teammates did. I mean, as you mentioned, Jets not registering their first shot and goal until there was, maybe 3.5 minutes or so left in that first period. And it was a significant significant number of high danger chances that the Hurricanes were putting forth that he was turning away. I mean, that first shift of the game, I think, had 2 good scoring chances for the Carolina Hurricanes. And Brossoit, looked solid. And it's sort of funny, everybody remembers the bad goal he gave up against the Nashville Predators in his last start, which would have been, I guess, 8 days ago on that Sunday afternoon. But people forget that, he gave up that bad goal. But before that, he actually looked pretty solid for the Jets in that prior to giving up the bit of the stinker. So, it's not that he's been playing, poor hockey. But, by and large, he maybe hasn't been, there's been a stinker here or a stinker there. But, tonight's game, you got to see why the Jets brought back Laurent Brossoit, when they can feel confident that when he plays his 20 or 25 games based on tonight's result, they can feel confident that, hey, maybe he's rounding into form and we're going to be fine with our backup goalie. I mean, in that first period alone, high danger chances 6-2 in favor of the Carolina Hurricanes. And I would have thought it might have even been higher than that. Mm-hmm. That good for the Jets early on and then all throughout the course of tonight's contest. So very important for Laurent Brossoit himself. Yeah. And of course, that's such going to be a boost of confidence, for the whole team. And, to be able to beat a Hurricanes team that, is still a very good hockey team. I mean, people forget how good this Carolina Hurricanes team is.
Oh my God.
Second in the Metropolitan Division. They've had horrendous goaltending all year long. Mm-hmm. Antti Ranta, this is actually a better game for him tonight than he's had for many of the games he's played this year. His save percentage is way lower than the 900 mark. Today, he's going to finish with a save percentage of .909, getting 20 saves on the 22 shots he faced, and his goals against average was over 3.5. So this is actually a good performance by a Hurricanes netminder, which is, I'm sure, why it leaves an even more sour taste in their mouth that they couldn't get more than that one goal behind Laurent Brossoit.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing about Carolina I noticed is that they're kind of an unusual road team. Their record coming into tonight's game was 6-6-0, so now they're below 500 on the road. But they've been very good
dominant at home.
Yeah, very good at home. So I thought that was one, of the interesting things, the stats, if you will, coming into tonight's game. When you look at a team that, as you said, Drew, was the second best team in the Metro Division right now, and they're playing well under head coach Rod Brindamore, and so you knew that this was a team that was going to compete. You knew that they were going to have a good effort. This is the start of a road trip for them, so they wanted to get it off on the right foot. And to me, it was a big test for Winnipeg because you couldn't afford to come have a good game. And look, let's again, we're gonna speak the truth here. We're not going to say the Jets dominated the Hurricanes. The Jets did for a stretch when they started that second period, which we'll get to when we discuss the second. But the fact of the matter is that again, you use the weapons that are at your disposal. You don't apologize for having good things. If you have an ace, then you play the ace. If you have a king, you play the king. You don't apologize for either of those cards in your deck. And so, look, when Laurent Brossoit played tonight's game the way he did, and he did look confident from the outset, Drew. And you're right, that opening shift, we're just kind of sitting around looking, going, did the Jets not realize? And I saw your tweet and I laughed. Did the Jets not realize that it was a 6:30 start? Although by the time the puck actually dropped, I think it was closer to 7.
Yeah, it was about 10-7, I think, after the pregame hootenanny.
No, but I mean, like it was unbelievable. I mean, he made two quality stops, and I think it was like a flurry of at least 3 or 4 on that first little minute of the game. And I thought, well, he's awake. He doesn't need smelling salts. He's certainly aware of what's going on. And again, this is like as important as it is for the 2 points, and you want the top line. I thought the top line was excellent tonight. I think
they were certainly the Jets' best forward group, I would say, no question.
Yeah. I think that they've really found a lot of, I think Nikolai Ehlers is kind of figuring out how to play with those guys. Mm-hmm. And he's, I quote, more difficult guy to play with because he's not your traditional straight line skater. Yeah. But the things that he does and the way he seems to complement those guys and his passing. I mean, and it's funny. I know some people I saw some tweets about like Nikolai Ehlers passing. I'm thinking to myself, like, he last game, 3 times in the first 10 minutes, I said Nikolai Ehlers facilitated a beautiful pass. It didn't end up as a goal. But Nikolai Ehlers made some phenomenal, created some phenomenal opportunities for his teammates. He did that again, in this game. And so I just think that he seems to have found a spot. And again, Gabe Vilardi, whether he ends up there or not, is still finding his game. I mean, this is only his, second game back after a 6-week layoff. So you understand that he's not going to be they don't want to put that pressure on him. They want to keep him getting slowly reacclimatized, because what you don't want to do is have a setback where he's trying to do too much or he's playing too much hockey, and it's going to lead to a problem for Gabe Vilardi. So for the Jets right now, it's a really good thing to see that 81, 27, and 55 are working well together and creating a lot of opportunity. So, I mean, that's a real good start for the Jets, and it's a good way to end the homestand, because what you didn't want to do is go 1-3 at home. You needed to, as good as you've been playing in November, you wanted to kind of get things back on track. And now, like you said, Drew, you've erased the idea of that 3-game losing streak. And now people are focused on the fact that you've won 2 in a row. You're maintaining pace with Colorado and Dallas. You're up to 30 points on the season, which gives you a little buffer between the 4th place, 5th place teams who are not falling out of favor. They, Arizona and St. Louis are still there. Nashville's still there. So you want to keep banking these points. So this was an important 2 points for the Jets before they head out on the road.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It makes their homestand a lot more palatable when you're 2-2 as opposed to 1-3. You win, you beat a Carolina Hurricanes team that is, as we mentioned, a very good hockey team, one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, one of the best teams in the league, I would argue. The Jets continue to be.
What about the Jets' inability to lose to the East?
That's what I was going to say. The Jets continue to be undefeated in regulation against the Eastern Conference, which is, again, you have to play. Last time I checked, you still have to play 32 games against the Eastern Conference. You win all 32, it's still going to count the same in the standings. So the Jets will gladly take another victory against the East as they improve that perfect record that they have, or more or less perfect record that they have against the Eastern Conference. Before we get into the Betway game recap here on the Illegal Curve post-game show, Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk with you on this Monday night. Your thoughts, Dave, on the 11-7. That certainly came as a surprise to all of us. I think we were all expecting the Jets to go with the traditional 12-6, and then I'm not sure if I haven't seen yet if it was just a coach's decision or if there was an injury issue that was we were unaware of. But Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, late scratch, and they go with Logan Stanley, who ends up playing more minutes in tonight's game than Declan Chisholm, which I found to be curious all around, I guess. Your sort of general thoughts on that course of action.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit unexpected, I think I would say, because we were at morning skate and there was really no indication that they were going 11-7, and obviously that is Rick Bowness's prerogative to decide what he wants to do. I don't know if maybe we'll see some comments. Our faithful photog Colby Spence, after taking pictures, is in the media center scrum in the Matt Frost Media Center, I should say. So we'll have that available on our YouTube channel, of course, and we'll find out if it was anything other than just a coach's decision. He wanted to get Logan Stanley into the game. He hasn't played. I don't remember the last time we saw Logan Stanley. It's been feels like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 3 weeks since Logan Stanley's played a game.
Has it been that long? I mean, yeah.
Feels like he came in.
Well, hang on. The internet is a wonderful source of information, and it's at my fingertips. So I'm going to look that up while you keep talking about it.
Yeah, and look, Craig Penner's making a good point. He said Stanley had. I'm going to put
November 17th against Buffalo. So there you go.
So about 3 weeks. Right?
About 3 weeks. So pretty good. Yeah.
So Craig Penner is saying Stanley had the more minutes, but Bowness still chose to give Chisholm the power play time, and that's a good thing to note from our friend Craig. And look, it was curious, and again, like I said, I don't know the rationale, because the thought was, and we talked to Rick Bowness about this. I think it was this morning. Yeah, it was this morning because there was no media availability yesterday. And one of the things he talked about, because Mike McIntyre asked him about Declan Chisholm and whether it was if he had done too many things the right way in order to, not come out of the lineup. And Rick Bowness's answer was quite simply, yes, that is the fact. Declan Chisholm did, sure, he made, a couple of mistakes, as do, even veteran guys like we saw with Dylan DeMello today.
Yeah.
But the reality is, the one thing that Rick Bowness, not one thing, but one of the things that Rick Bowness mentioned about Declan Chisholm that he was impressed by was he didn't hand his problems off to others quickly. That he was not going, okay, I've got a hot potato, you take the hot potato. He was able to try and, solve that issue himself and not try and pass it along. So, and again, like I said, I didn't see anything. And what were the minutes finished with?
The minutes for
Chisholm.
For Declan Chisholm was at 10 minutes and 8 seconds. Logan Stanley was at 12:58.
Yeah. So I mean,
So
like
almost
like
3 minutes more of playing time, which is
yeah.
relatively significant, especially Logan Stanley. He got 46 seconds on 5-on-5, and Declan Chisholm got 50 seconds. No, Declan Chisholm, in fact, didn't get any time whatsoever on the power play. So,
Craig Penner, your comment out.
yeah, we'll
I
let it
was like,
slide
wow,
this
I didn't
time.
look at it,
Because
but I
really,
didn't fact check it.
the Jets only had the one power play,
Yeah.
and it was late in that first period. So the first line got probably the entire 2 minutes of the power play when you think about it, because it overlapped into the start of the second. So there was no
Right.
need for the line
Yeah, that's
change.
true. They didn't
So,
reset.
yeah, they didn't reset there. So
Craig led us astray.
it's okay. Well, we still like Craig. We like Craig. We like all of you. We like
Craig.
everybody that's joining us. Almost 300 of you on this Monday night talking about there's Craig. He's making mea culpa. Craig is saying he's apologizing. His eyes deceived him at the game. Then don't worry, Craig. As somebody who wears a thick pair of spectacles, I can certainly understand your eyes deceiving you. But the Jets do get the 2-1 victory on home ice tonight to finish the homestand with a record of 2-2. It'll be interesting to see what they say, what is said post game. We'll keep an eye on it about the Jets' decision to go 11-7 and everything else. I'm not a big fan personally of 11-7. I just find it's not. I just don't know that it's ever conducive to success. I just never find that it really gives a team a real significant boost. And
are the Jets 2-0 since when they went 11-7?
Yeah, they are. There's no yes. If you want to strictly look at the wins and losses, just to me though, with the time that it does, if you're a guy like Declan Chisholm, I think are you not beginning to question yourself a little bit if you played one game on Sunday?
Well,
you played well. I mean, I don't think you necessarily are questioning yourself, but you're like, okay, I played well on Sunday. The coach said it himself. Why is there another defenseman now coming into the rotation? Now, maybe one of those guys is banged up and they didn't want to get caught in a situation where they're going to end up having to play 5 defensemen for the whole game because a guy has to leave, early on. And that's certainly a possibility. And I don't know the answer to that, and we'll find out soon enough. But just as a general rule, I'm not a big fan of 11-7 when it's done. I understand the circumstances when it's a necessary evil, but it just never really sits right with me.
Well, and our friend Dom Zappia poses something, and before we get into the Betway game recap, Drew, I'll ask you. I'm going to put my hosting cap on and ask you the question. What were your thoughts on the fly? And I'm going to put a poll up so we can get all of your opinions as to whether you enjoyed or did not like the Fly the 48 uniforms the first time the Jets have worn them. We had Adam Lowry, spoke with him this morning. He spoke about what he was looking forward to it. Our photographer, Colby Spence, he loved the jerseys. Apparently they showed up really nicely on the camera. So we're going to ask the folks in the chat. I'm going to put up a poll right away, but I want to know what your thoughts are, Drew, and then we'll get the folks in the chat. Maybe you can highlight those as I'm putting up the poll.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that I thought the jersey looked nice. I thought that it would look even better. The gloves I thought were my favorite part. I thought the gloves absolutely popped and were really looked sharp. And I would see if to improve upon the jersey or the whole uniform combination as a whole is maybe matching pants to the gloves. Then I think you'd really be onto something. If you're leaning in on sort of a bit of the old fashioned look, I think you should lean in even further. I mean, Brossoit's pads looked fantastic and sharp when contrasted with the jersey itself. So now imagine the entire team wearing hockey pants that same color, and then the gloves the way they were. Then I think you're really on to something. Look, I thought that's a nice jersey. It's a nice color scheme. I don't get really up in arms very much when it comes to jerseys or saying this is my least favorite jersey. I mean, the least favorite jersey that the Jets have rolled out, in my perspective, is the Finland blue one when they went and played over in Finland those couple games, however many years ago those jerseys did nothing for me whatsoever.
You mean with the word mark just
across
with the
word mark across it? That whole thing just didn't titillate me at all. But
sure.
Other than that, I thought these ones looked sharp and would have looked even sharper maybe with the brown pants to match the brown gloves.
As Bart Oman says, the Aviators. Although I will say, and this is not, we're here to discuss tonight's 2-1.
Yeah, the Aviators.
Over...
Sometimes words are too difficult for me to remember.
Yeah, but no, what I was going to say, what's interesting to me is that and we're not, again, we're going to talk about the Jets game, not jerseys so much, but it is an interesting difference in the uniform. So I think it's notable and worth talking about. And if you, again, the poll is up, so please let us know if you were a fan of the jersey, yes or no. But what I was going to say, and you can go on our Instagram, the Illegal Curve Instagram, and share your thoughts. We've got a lot of pictures courtesy of Colby. But when I did an article years ago on illegalcurve.com, and we were talking about what jerseys people liked, which ones they didn't like. I, like you, I didn't really care about the Aviators, but I anticipated that they would be reviled. And they weren't. Actually, they were quite well liked. So a lot of people like the Aviators, maybe because when the Jets discontinued them, they put them on sale for half price. And as everybody knows, Winnipeggers love a good deal. So maybe that was what it was all about. But the Aviators actually got better results in a previous illegalcurve.com article than I would have anticipated, and also on our Instagram. But like I said, this isn't about jerseys, but I mean, again,
but you know what? There's a lesson there, Dave, and that lesson is there's no accounting for taste. And I would say that's even echoed by the fact that so many of you are joining us on this Monday night to talk about the Illegal Curve post-game show. The definition of there's no accounting for taste is the fact that we all gather together after each and every Winnipeg Jets game, and again on Saturday mornings for the Illegal Curve hockey show. Well, we appreciate all of you joining us. No questions about that. Let's get into tonight's contest even more so. We'll do our period by period recap. It's all part of the Betway game recap.
The Betway game recap.
Betway game recap brought to you by our friends at Betway, title sponsor of the Illegal Curve post-game show, longtime supporters of this program. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront with a large selection of betting options in sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. We do appreciate their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show and all that we do here on our channel. The Jets, as we talked about, absolutely get dominated early in the game. Not just early in the game. Through the first 15, 16 minutes of this game, the Jets are completely dominated. Carolina ends up outshooting the Jets 15-3 in the first period. High danger chances galore for the Carolina Hurricanes, and the Jets capitalized really on their only chance in that first period. Only had 3 shots, so when you only have 3 shots, not many chances are usually coming your way, but the Jets make it count. It's Kyle Connor, his 15th of the year, assist to Nikolai Ehlers and Mark Scheifele, and that trio was tremendous for the Winnipeg Jets during tonight's contest. This was a beautiful pass by Scheifele up the ice to Ehlers, coming in on a 2-on-1. Kyle Connor has about a quarter of a step on Michael Bunting, who's coming back to try and break up the play. Ehlers with a perfect saucer pass, and Connor makes no mistake going roof daddy over Antti Ranta to give the Jets a 1-0 lead late in that first period, the goal coming with 3:02 to play in period number 1.
Well, and it's important because it gets Kyle Connor, who's hit a bit of a mini slide. I think he had gone 5 games without a goal. So he gets back in the goal column, and he's had lots of chances. And I mean, look, that was before we get into the goal. And I know we've talked about it a little bit, but that first period, first 75 minutes or more like about 85% of that first period was like the ice was tilted all the way down towards the Jets zone, right? I mean, Carolina had the puck. Laurent Brossoit was excellent. And I think that goes a long way, right? And we've talked about the Jets' abilities to have confidence in their netminders and what that does for them in these games. So, I mean, to me, that was a phenomenal play by Laurent Brossoit to give his team that opportunity. And again, you're somewhat incredulous watching the Jets because you're like, are these guys going to ever get it going? And sure, again, they had some shots at the net that didn't actually register as shots. But you're right, Drew. I mean, this was a phenomenal play all the way around by the Winnipeg Jets. And Nikolai Ehlers, that pass over to Kyle Connor is just, again, he does have that vision, and he does have the ability to make, excellent passes. We talk about Mark Scheifele, and look, Nikolai Ehlers' numbers for him are low, right? He's got 7 goals, 7 assists. this season already, or only 7 goals, only 7 goals and 7 assists, which is light, but it's light though, relatively speaking, right? And again, we anticipated that because like a lot of players, and people don't seem to remember this. Like, and again, I'm not going to make this a Moose thing or too much, but like when guys suffer things like groin injuries, when they're a little bit slower, we saw it with the Moose. Some of these guys, they just take a little bit longer to, you miss training camp or you miss a large part. It's going to take you a bit of time. And Nikolai Ehlers looks to me like a player in the last, say, half dozen games, like a guy who's back to his timing. His speed looks back to normal. And so you saw it. And again, he's got great vision. So he makes that pass over to Kyle Connor. And Kyle Connor, even as snake bit as he's been for the last little bit, he makes no mistake there, goes up top. And it's just, again, you're incredulous because you're like, the crowd is laughing, right? Oh, then first of all, before we even talk about this.
Yeah, the crowd is booing because of the Bronx cheer.
No, but the irony, Drew, was that they actually had, so it was 12-0 in shots for Carolina.
Right.
They gave the Jets a shot, which didn't really look like a shot, but they registered as a shot. Crowd started cheering. Then they actually removed it from the Jumbotron and they discounted it, said it didn't count as a shot. So then the crowd was booing a little bit. So then it was 12-0 still. And then again, they got that first shot on net. And then 26 seconds later, they get the goal to go up 1-0. And you're somewhat incredulous, but it kind of felt like, again, like I said, and there was no great, wow, you're so predictive. You're, way to go, Kreskin. But like the reality is that it just felt like that was going to happen. That Laurent Brossoit was playing really steady in net, and the Jets were opportunistic. And they're, again, they've got some talent on that top line, and that top line showed it by scoring that goal. Kyle Connor's 15th of the year.
Yeah, and it was funny. I was on the social medias when the goal went in, and a number of Hurricanes fans were commenting that, of course, apparently they've seen this movie before. They go out and they absolutely dominate, and then they take a step back, and give up a goal despite being, completely one-sided. Like I mentioned, the Hurricanes have the lowest team save percentage in the NHL entering tonight's game. Not one of the 3 goalies that they've used on a regular basis, Ranta, Kochetkov, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his name. It's terrible with names. Kochetkov, and Freddie Anderson, who of course is injured. Not one of them have a save percentage over 900. So you can see that the goaltending and getting timely saves has been an issue for the Carolina Hurricanes this year, albeit that certainly wasn't an issue late in the game when the Jets could have used an insurance marker and Antti Ranta was up to the challenge. But nonetheless, after 20 minutes, the Jets do have that 1-0 lead over the Hurricanes, and the second period starts. And as you would expect, Dave, the Jets are much better to start that second period than they were to start the first period of tonight's contest. The first period had been just a bad period for the Winnipeg Jets. There's no other way to sugarcoat that, just how one-sided it was. The Jets much better in the second period and begin to take the play to the Carolina Hurricanes early in
starting with the end of the power play.
Right, so exactly. So they started the period with a power play. The power play really didn't do much of anything to write home about. That was the only power play opportunity the Jets had in tonight's game. But then they found their skating legs, and they found a rhythm to how they wanted to play, and they were opportunistic. And you can see that the Connor, Ehlers, Scheifele line has certainly been the driver offensively for the Winnipeg Jets as of late. Now, the Jets haven't been burning up the scoreboard or anything, but you can see that that's the line that's really clicking right now. They were the only line for the Jets in tonight's game to have an expected goals for, to have a positive expected goals for percentage, which they barely did, just over 50%. But the Iafallo, Perfetti, Velarde line was down to 31%, and Appleton, Lowry, Niederreiter was even lower, just over expected goals for percentage, just above 1.5%. So that was really low for that. What people call the Jets' third line, but is often the Jets' second line, as the case may be. But Connor, Scheifele, and Ehlers really driving the bus for the Winnipeg Jets offensively, and Nikolai Ehlers gets his 7th of the year assist to Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor at the 11:39 mark, and a prettier goal you're not going to see tonight. It was just exquisite passing on display, exquisite skill on display, And when three high-skilled players team up and sort of know exactly where one another are going to be, it can be a thing of beauty, and that's what this one was. It was artistry on ice, resulting in Ehlers getting his 7th of the season and giving the Jets the 2-0 lead.
I'm pretty sure each one of these guys touched the puck like 10 times.
Twice. Yeah.
Like Connor in the neutral zone, then Ehlers drops it to Scheifele, then Connor gets it back, then Scheifele, then back to Ehlers and into the back of the net. And also like just a phenomenal celebration by Nikolai Ehlers with the little spin, arms raised, spinning towards the boards. But I mean, yeah, I mean, look, it was on their 14th shot of the game, and the Jets were playing well, right? I mean, the Jets had come out, they had an 8-1 shot advantage to start that second period. So, they had reversed it a little bit, Drew, from what we had seen before, but that's the talent. Again, that's also like, that's Scheifele and Connor. You expect that, but Ehlers finding that level of chemistry with those two, if that can be consistent, is significant, because that's kind of been the knock, is that can he play with Scheifele and Connor? Well, if he can, and if those three can, again, I'm not suggesting they were lights out, but Carolina is a good team, right? Carolina is one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. So, I mean, again, you weren't expecting the Jets to come out and dominate them and just destroy them. At least I wasn't. And so the fact is, I thought that the Jets, the way they loaded up that top line and the way those guys played, I mean, that there's certain goals. And again, you don't cheer in the press box, but that was a goal that was like, that left an audible wow.
Yeah.
There was a wow factor to that goal by Nikolai Ehlers, because you're just impressed by the level of talent that was on display. And so, like I said, between Connor, Scheifele, and Ehlers, every guy made a nice pass to get that puck from their zone into the Carolina, and then Ehlers, if his shot can get up there and he can start finding the back of the net more frequently, and that's one of the things the Jets are going to need. You need Nikolai Ehlers to score goals or just get a lot of assists, because he does have that capability. But if they can do that, it's going to go a long way for this hockey team. And yeah, that was a phenomenal goal. And again, it's the kind of goal that got the building excited, right? And everybody's excited. And obviously it was military appreciation night. There was a lot of pomp and ceremony with the military, and they were doing that after the game as well, wearing coming on the ice and interacting with the players,
photo and everything.
Yeah. And over 700, credit to 700 Manitobans who donated tickets to military members so they could come to the game and see the game. So there was a lot of, one family, I don't know how much they showed on television. I'm sure they showed the thing, but the Shaver family, the entire family have all been in the Air Force, which is incredible, all the way back to World War I. So pretty incredible for that family's dedication to our country. And, again, like I said, it was just an impressive way to kind of get the crowd going. And I will say the crowd also was going because there was, I'm not saying this to, you weren't there, but do they show the band? Because they're playing that a military band.
You could hear the band. You could hear the band on TV playing throughout the course of the game. Which was it added a little bit of color. It added a little bit of character into the lower bowl during the game, which is probably something that they might want to look at doing on a more regular basis.
And that's what Craig Penner here. And this we know Craig is not construing, getting us in trouble, but Craig's saying the RCAF.
Craig saw that Craig used his ears for this one, not his eyes for this one.
No, so Craig is saying the RCAF trumpet player playing Sweet Caroline made the crowd energy feel like it was 2018 all over again. And it wasn't just Sweet Caroline. There were a lot of instances throughout the course of that hockey game where the trumpeter and the band were getting the crowd into it. So it was a fun environment. And again, like I said, when that goal goes off, the crowd was excited because they know they had just seen something pretty damn special.
There you go. Exactly right. So it's 2-0 for the Winnipeg Jets at that point. And of course, before we go any further, I should mention that Ehlers goal is, of course, our Seagram shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
You're a fan of the Seagram's products when I reached into a jacket pocket earlier today, a jacket that I hadn't worn that often, or I don't remember the last time I wore it, and I pulled out a miniature bottle of Fireball So I don't know why it was in the jacket pocket. I'm not sure from when it was in the jacket pocket. I suspect it may have been imbibing in public maybe once or twice during the winter months. But I pulled the bottle of Fireball out of my pocket. So thanks to our friends at Seagram's. Of course, they make the and distribute the lovely Fireball product, and they're a big sponsor of ours here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. So we do thank our friends at Seagram's for that. The Hurricanes, just when it looked like the Jets were going to get after 40 minutes, leading 2-0 with 50 seconds to go. It's a bit of a smelly one in that it goes off of Dylan DeMello's skate. No chance for Laurent Brossoit, and you saw DeMello look up to the heavens when the puck went in. It's Martin Neckash, his seventh of the year. It's an ugly one, and that sort of seemed like the only way they were going to beat the Laurent Brossoit tonight was by an ugly fluke goal of that nature, and that one certainly was an ugly, fluky one. No fault of the Jets goaltender, no fault of Dylan DeMello, who obviously wasn't intending to put it into his own net.
No, I mean it's the end of the shift. I mean, there's that broken stick is playing all over the place. The Jets had a little bit of a chance to get the puck out of there. I mean, it was the end of a longer shift against that, Gustafsson line, but it's unfortunate because really as you said, Drew, it seemed like that was the only way Laurent Brossoit was getting beat. But like Dylan DeMello has possession of the puck. He doesn't realize that, he's got a Hurricanes player draped all over him, and then he loses the puck behind the net. And then sure enough, they get that burn because I thought it was his stick. You're right. When it was a little hard for us to see from where we were situated in the press box. Yeah. But and then of course
you borrowed Craig Penner's eyes to try and watch it at that point in time.
No, I just couldn't. I knew it went in off Dylan DeMello based on his reaction. I just wasn't certain whether he put it in with his stick or with his foot. But sure enough, it was his foot. And I mean, you were wondering though how that would play with the Jets because they had played a pretty good second period. And although again, you have to credit Carolina, right? Because the Jets had an 8-1 shot edge, and shots ended up 15-13 at one point, I think, in the second.
Yeah, the second period, the shots were 14-13 in favor of the Hurricanes.
Okay,
look, so the Hurricane, that's what they do. I mean, the Hurricanes are the top possession team at 5-on-5 in the league. Yeah. They put a lot of pucks on net. They are a team that that's what they do. They're a possession based team. The Jets with Connor, Ehlers, and Scheifele as a line are a off the rush team. They score quick strike style like we've seen the Vegas Golden Knights do successfully for so many years. So Carolina is going to usually win the possession battle. I don't know that they're necessarily going to win the shots on goal battle 2-1 like they did in tonight's game, 43-22, almost doubling the Jets in their shots on goal. But it's certainly not unusual for the Hurricanes to lead. There's a reason why I called them the Kings of Corsi to start this broadcast, is because it's not wrong necessarily. But 2-1 at that point, the Jets lead after 40 minutes. And you're right. That was my question as well. The fluke goal by Carolina, what's that going to do to start the third period? What's that going to do for the confidence of the respective teams? And, Laurent Brossoit, again, was the absolute reason why the Jets won 14-6. The Jets are outshot in the third period, but the Jets did have their scoring opportunities as well. Kyle Connor had a couple of different opportunities on the same shift, almost back-to-back. Again, one where he sent in all alone, and then another one where he set up in the slot, and Antti Ranta made a couple of very nice saves. And then you were really wondering, Dave, at least I was, are the Jets' inability to hit the empty net? Nikolai Ehlers really just needs to lift it up over Ranta, who almost gets caught going to the bench too early. But
it's a nice poke check at the blue line, Drew.
Poke check. Yeah.
At the blue line.
Check. Out at the blue line. Exactly right. Just a fantastic poke check. Prevents the Jets from making it 3-1, and then Kyle Connor with an opportunity to hit the empty net, and he gets he shoots it wide. Obviously the Hurricanes player back checking on that one impacted the shot, but he shoots it wide, and I couldn't help but think back to that game. It would have been, I don't even know if it was last year or 2 years ago now, in Minnesota. Remember where the Jets, I think they scored into an empty net, but then it was called back for offside.
Yeah, it was Minnesota.
And then the Wild ended up scoring in regulation to tie the game and then winning it in overtime. I couldn't help but flash back to that to think to think, I wonder if the Jets are going to rue missing the empty net and see the Hurricanes tie it up. But they didn't, largely thanks to Laurent Brossoit, who, I mean, the one save that jumps to my mind is the robbery off of Seth Jarvis, the local boy, right in of the Jets net with mere seconds to go in tonight's contest.
Yeah, and that to me just showed the confidence in Laurent Brossoit and in his game. And again, like I said, I thought he was confident from the beginning of the game, and it felt like he was ready to go. So I wasn't shocked that he made that save, but it was an impressive save nonetheless on Jarvis to keep it. Because maybe before, if he doesn't have that good feeling, then that's a different story. Now, some folks like our friend Doug here and a couple others, Dan, were saying that maybe they thought there was a thrown stick. So maybe that should have counted as a goal on the poke check. But the refs were a little bit, again, like I said, I prefer a game like this where there's less penalties than over calling it. But like there was a missed high stick on Alex Iafallo in the second. There was like the Dylan DeMello phantom tripping. I didn't know what they were calling there. That to me was a little bit unusual. So I thought the refereeing was pretty good for the most part in today's game. I don't know about you, Drew, but like I said, it's if you're only there's only one or two penalties that are marginal or whatever. I thought it was.
Yeah, there was nothing blatant that or especially egregious in tonight's game, and usually that's the benchmark, though. That's now standard for the NHL if you're allowed to complain about the officials or not. Was there anything especially egregious? Because there are so many games where there are especially egregious things that don't go called or that don't get called, but not tonight in that case for the Winnipeg Jets.
Look, and Joe from Winnipeg, our good friend, is saying analytics wise, Carolina killed us in every category. We had the better goalie. Well, I think we've been highlighting that throughout the course of this game. Drew's gone over the analytics numerous times to again, we affirm that. But at the end of the day, as I said earlier, if you have an ace, you play the ace. And today the Jets had an ace, and he stopped basically every shot that Carolina took. He couldn't stop Dylan DeMello, but Laurent Brossoit was the player of the game for the Jets. He was the first, second, and third star. Although that, like I said, that Scheifele line was excellent. So you give them credit as well. But really, that was the difference in the game. And again, you don't, for all those years, not more recently, Andre Vasilevsky's numbers haven't been good of late, but Tampa Bay never complained when Vasilevsky won them game after game after game. Jets similarly with Connor Hellebuck. And again, remember, folks, that everyone wanted to anticipate that, this year there was going to be a lot of Connor Hellebuck and Laurent Brossoit doing what we're seeing right now. And right now you're seeing Connor Hellebuck returning to form. If Laurent Brossoit returns to form, it's going to be good. Now, again, the Jets, you want to see them go back to that better possession, that better 5-on-5 that we saw from them earlier in the season. You don't want them getting away and relying on their goaltending because, again, that's going to lead to bad habits. And it isn't as sustainable necessarily because it could become a little bit taxing on your netminders. But again, these types of games, and again, one of the comments that we highlighted earlier, a lot of the shots, and there were still a lot of high danger shots, but when you do have a volume shooting team like Carolina, a lot of it is not in a difficult situation for Laurent Brossoit. So yeah, he made 40 saves. They weren't obviously all 40 high danger shots.
No, they all weren't high danger, but nonetheless, a great performance by the Winnipeg Jets goaltender and a good, solid victory on home ice for the Winnipeg Jets to increase the winning streak to 2 games in a row. The question, of course, becomes, can they increase the winning streak to 3 games in a row? And let's all get together to find out the answer to that. That'll be this coming Thursday night. The Jets and the Colorado Avalanche. We are going to be at Boston Pizza Taylor Avenue, and we want you to join us. Celebrate the holidays. It's the start of the holiday season. If you haven't already started, maybe you kick it off on Thursday. Happens to be the first night of Hanukkah as well. Come celebrate the holidays with Illegal Curve this coming Thursday. That's December the 7th, 7:30 p.m. Anytime after 7:30 p.m., we are going to be at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. That's the corner of Taylor and Nathaniel. We're going to be watching the Jets and the Avalanche game all together. Then we're going to be doing a live broadcast of the Illegal Curve post-game show. So come join us. No, Dan is asking in the chat, no need to purchase a ticket. Absolutely no need to purchase a ticket for this event. Just come to Boston Pizza, Taylor Avenue. Join us. Sit back, relax. There's going to be great drink specials, food specials. We'll get some prizes together. Everybody come join us Thursday night, Boston Pizza, Taylor Avenue. We'll watch the Jets and the Avalanche. We'll laugh. We'll toast one another. And then we'll do the Illegal Curve post-game show live on location from Boston Pizza, Taylor Avenue. So we're very much looking forward to being there on Thursday night and hope that
Brass Bonanza wants to know, Drew, if they need to bring their mom's famous dip.
I mean, I'm not really sure. Maybe I don't.
Drew never says no to a
speaking,
dip.
I enjoy a good dip. Generally speaking, most food establishments, restaurants, frown on people bringing in food.
Well, maybe
from outside.
But but this is not to be consumed. Maybe it's a gift, Drew. So maybe this is meant to be as a gift to you or I. I'm not a dip guy, but maybe so. We'll say to you or Ez. Yeah. And then what we'll do is
dip you have is chewing tobacco. We know.
so maybe that's the idea. It will be wrapped in some sort of tinfoil or something like that.
I mean, maybe Brass Bonanza, if you're bringing dip, sure, why not? But if you are coming, and we do hope that you sincerely are, you want to bring something. Maybe it's not your mom's favorite dip, but bring a tin for the bin, bring something for the Christmas cheerboard, a new unwrapped toy, non-perishable food item, whatever, something along those lines. Bring those with you as well. We can do some good while we get together and have some fun. Maybe we can do some good for some of those who are needing an extra little hand up this time of year. So bring something for the Christmas cheerboard, and we will be sure to get it over to those good folks who are doing great work.
KG3 is trying to push an after party at Dave M. So
right.
We'll see about that, KG3.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't make any promises.
Depends on how things go at Boston Pizza Taylor. If there's going to be an after party at Dave M's
house.
Well,
I mean, it is an 8:00 start, so I mean, we'll still be doing the show till the wee hours of the morning. But you never know.
Well, the post game show. If it's an 8:00 start, post.
Hey, Ezzy and I generally do a post game show. So
it's true.
Never say never.
Never say never, but be at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue on Thursday night. If you have any questions about this, you can reach out to any of us, and we'll be glad to pass you on some additional information. But we certainly look forward to seeing everybody, hopefully seeing everybody on Thursday night.
And remember, if you can't join us, now we want you there, live and in person. We love that. But if you can't join us, you can still join us here. The show still goes on. We still get a chance to talk to all of you fine folks. So remember, it's not all is not lost, because unfortunately, if we end up with all those people at Boston Pizza, I'm going to force them all to go on their phones and hit the like button in person. Whereas, or if Phyllis is there, maybe she'll do it for me, and you don't have to worry about that. You can just smash the like button if you so choose.
There you go. So we look forward to all that. We'll be there at Boston Pizza Taylor Avenue on Thursday night. And of course, we'll still be live here on the YouTube channel. So
Spency wants to do a post game show with Spency behind the dumpster at BP.
Hey, whatever Spency wants to do, Spency gets to do. I'm not about to tell him no. So in any event, we look forward to seeing you on Thursday night. When we come back on the Illegal Curve post-game show, we have much more on, of course, on the Jets and the Carolina Hurricanes, the Jets victory, but there was a victory off the ice for the Jets earlier this morning. That is the signing of Nino Niederreiter to that 3-year contract extension. We'll talk about that next. Tough Duck, hardest hitting comment. Much more to come. It's Monday night. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk, and so many hundreds of you as well. Stay with us. We'll be right back with much more Jets talk.
Your coworkers love you because you always make them laugh. You're the life of the party with stories that have them rolling on the floor. Or maybe you're just the quiet one in the corner with the one-liners that just slay. Do you have what it takes to become Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job? Try your luck. Hit the stage at Rumors Comedy Club, and you could be walking away with $1,000 cash. Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job. Presented by Rumors. For all the details, head to rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal. Starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
The game can change just like that. Accidents happen when you aren't protected. So now what? Getting to your injury quickly can make all the difference. Help prevent them from being game changers with Linden Market Dental Center. Bonding, crowns, bridges, and dental implants. State-of-the-art treatments are available to help you get back in the game. To learn more, visit lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Boston Pizza harnessed Fanalytics to test if the game is better at home or at Boston Pizza. The results are irrefutable. Catch the game at Boston Pizza, powered by Fanalytics.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the illegal curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk with you on this. It is a Monday night. I keep thinking I'm going to say Tuesday because I'm used to Jets playing on Tuesdays more than Mondays, but I will drill it into my thick skull that it is Monday night. A Jets victory, that much I know. A 2-1 margin of victory over the Carolina Hurricanes. As I mentioned earlier, Dave M., this morning, and the audio is available on illegalcurve.com. Audio and video is available on illegalcurve.com. The interview with Nino Niederreiter, who signs a 3-year contract extension to stay in Winnipeg. It's the same AAV as he's currently getting paid. He was in the midst of a 2-year, $8 million contract that he signed with the Nashville Predators. We know he got traded to Winnipeg, and then in Winnipeg, he re-signs for 3 years and $12 million, same $4 million AAV over the next 3 seasons for Nino Niederreiter. You know, since he arrived here in Winnipeg, he has been absolutely found money. You know, getting him for a 2nd-round pick, which was, mere peanuts when you really consider it. Yeah. And the Jets keep him around for another 3 years. A professional hockey player who fits on every single NHL team in this league, who does a lot of stuff that Jets themselves don't often do, which is drive hard to the net, which is where he gets his goals all within inches of the blue paint. Mm-hmm. And it just sort of, again, a little bit of a changing of the narrative. And they talked about this, about how Winnipeg is no longer, for a while there was some talk that it was people were trying to get out of Winnipeg. Well, here's another guy who would have had a hell of a lot of options come July 1st in free agency, electing to pass up those options and stay in Winnipeg for the next 3 seasons.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about it, Drew. And we're seeing it in some of the comments, from folks right now about this big signing, because we didn't know, right? We didn't know. Obviously, Scott Billick was the first person reported in the Winnipeg Sun actually a month ago today, I believe, talking about how Nino Niederreiter's agent was coming to Winnipeg and wanted to get an extension done, likes it in Winnipeg, likes the team, likes the organization, and wants to set down roots. And you're right. It really does dispel that narrative that the Jets organization has, have to work against, because there's so many people who spread the same tired nonsense over and over again. And look, it's appropriate that it's an El Nino winter and the weather is going to be 7 degrees. I said, sign him now, make him think that this is what we're always experiencing in Winnipeg, these types of winters. But look, at the end of the day, people, you want to see this kind of thing happening. And when Connor Hellebuck and Mark Scheifele stayed, when they agreed to stick around in Winnipeg, that I think went a long way towards getting players' attitudes to change, getting a lot of, remember the narrative out there, and you and I actually consistently last year were of the opinion that both Connor Hellebuck and Mark Scheifele, of the four, were going to be back. And we felt like, again, we didn't know 100%. We just felt that there was I was on board that they thought I was of the position, I should say, that Mark Scheifele was going to sign an extension. I didn't know about Connor Hellebuck.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the important point is that you change that narrative. You get, and again, I thought it was a little late in terms of maybe helping the organization from a ticket sales perspective, because the fan base didn't know what the hell was going to happen with this team. And, it's a hard sell for people to invest tens of thousands of dollars when they don't know what kind of product they're going to be looking at. Or am I going to be watching the Moose? Well, then why am I paying Jets prices to watch the Moose? Right. So from that perspective, I understand, but from a mentality perspective, when they got Scheifele and Connor signed to that identical extension, 7-year extension, it was important. And, one of the things, and like you said, Drew, people can go and listen, but one of the things that Nino Niederreiter was asked was about that. And he said, did the question posed by Mike McIntyre of the Free Press was, did the extension signed by Hellebuck and Scheifele have an impact on him wanting an extension with the Jets? Absolutely. It definitely showed to the city and the team that they want to go for a run here. So that's that idea, right? It's that idea that you want guys who want to be in this market, but you also want guys who want to win in this market. And that was the overarching theme. And I thought, Drew, it was very appropriate for you because Nino Niederreiter kept using a word that people want you to use about the Jets: elite. Now, I know with today's performance, especially from the analytics perspective, nobody's going to want to say that. But really, he did have that feeling like he didn't sign here to get just stability and $4 million a year. Right. He signed here because he feels that this team can be a competitive team, can be a challenge, a contending team, and he sees that the pieces are in place for that.
Well, to your point, this contract, 3 years, $4 million per season, was probably available anywhere in the free agent market. I'm going to put on my fortune teller hat, but had this gone to July 1st, it's easy to see him getting 3 years and $4 million. It's even easy to see him getting more than that, potentially, at least more than $4 million a year.
Yeah. Maybe not as much term, but more
maybe
money.
Not as much term, but again, this is a player in Niederreiter who has elected to continue to be a member of the Winnipeg Jets, who very easily could have waited another 4 months and just said to the team, I'm not right now in a position where I want to make that commitment. And he decided against that, which is, I think speaks a lot to both how he's enjoyed his time here and maybe how he sees the future of these Winnipeg Jets. And, it's hard to believe, but it really is only maybe 3-4 months ago, not even 3 months ago, let's say, that it was hard to believe that any of this would have happened. When the Jets elected to not do a rebuild, a lot of people thought that was the wrong decision. Now they've managed to probably prove that it was the right decision. And not only are they proving that, but they're taking necessary steps to ensure that that's not going to be the case moving forward. I don't think anybody at this point, with the way they've played so far this year, and re-signing Scheifele, re-signing Hellebuck, re-signing Niederreiter now, and that there's still another pretty good wave of talent that is set to join this roster in the coming years as well. The names of all the former first-round picks who are either playing in college or they're playing in junior, or some of them who are even playing with the Manitoba Moose. The future is a lot brighter for the Winnipeg Jets than it was 3 months ago. And this is another example of that. So Nino Niederreiter, 3 years, $4 million per season. A guy who can play up and down your lineup, a guy who's just a professional hockey player, much like Vlad Namestnikov. Boy, it really does look like a steal to get Nino Niederreiter for
a second
round pick, and then you hold on to him, and so you get his services for at least let's assume he plays out the next contract.
Sure,
at least 4.5 years. For a second round pick is really a good job by Kevin Cheveldayoff and huge value for the Winnipeg Jets.
Well, and I think, again, and I would encourage everyone to listen to the media availability, which is available on our YouTube channel or on the website, illegalcurve.com. But I mean, just if you hear the way he spoke, and one thing about Nino Niederreiter is he's very authentic, and he doesn't just like blow smoke and tell you what you want to hear. But like I said, the media availability, you heard the way he spoke about he wanted to work really hard. He said, when those guys signed extensions, I wanted to work really hard to earn an extension. I mean, and Mike was taken aback by that and asked him, he said, you're a guy who's got a lot of NHL experience, but that's the honest work ethic, the hardworking work ethic that, again, I think is why a lot of fans really like Nino Niederreiter. And I think why a lot of fans are going to like this deal. He's 31 years old. And he's in great shape. So to me, this is a contract that's going to look good for the Jets. And, you made a point, and I think it's worth mentioning because he's the kind of guy who's going to help mentor the next wave of guys coming up. And that's the kind of, and Rick Bowness talked about it a little bit in terms of culture and what he's done to help with that culture in this room. But that's someone you want showing that he's 31 years of age. He's established in the NHL. He called himself part of that middle class, which I thought was humorous, but he's the kind of guy who, when the Rutger McGroartys or the Brad Lamberts or the Nikita Chibrikovs or whomever comes into that Jets locker room, again, like I just saw the comment highlighted in the chat, or we didn't highlight it, but it was in the chat. He's not wearing a letter, but his influence, his impact on these players is going to be significant. So to me, that's one of those things that I think is going to be really important for off the ice, that he's going to have, where he'll have an impact. And that's that cultural development that this organization is kind of redrawn itself from what they were the last couple of years to this kind of new era, even though, again, largely similar players. And I think Nino Niederreiter is going to be a big part of charting a new course for this Jets club and a lot of the prospects that come after.
Yeah, he may not wear a letter, but that Nino Niederreiter's voice carries a lot of impact in that Jets dressing room when he speaks about whatever's going on. And that comes with having played, almost, you've played 800 plus games in the NHL. He's obviously going to reach 1,000 games in the NHL, given that he signed this 3-year deal, barring something unforeseen. So this is a guy who's got tons of respect, within the Jets dressing room and around the league. Always sought after, and the fact that the Jets were still able to get him for only a second-round pick is.
There's only one negative, Drew.
What's that?
I got to figure out how to spell his name. I'm like Niederreiter.
There's a way to do shortcuts. I'm sure you can figure it out with your keyboard. Just program in a shortcut, and you'll be fine.
I got so many damn shortcuts in my phone. It's not for believing, but now I've got 3.5 years to figure it out.
There you go. Well, nonetheless, the Jets and Nino Niederreiter signing that contract extension earlier this morning, and then announced, and then he spoke to the media before the game. A game the Jets win by a 2-1 margin. Couple comments on tonight's game from Rick Bowness, Jets head coach. Listen, tonight was the reason that we signed him. Speaking about Laurent Brossoit, he was the difference. There's no question that was his best game by far. Certainly was the case. And here's Laurent Brossoit on himself. Today, I felt more like myself, more like I did last year. I'm looking to harness that and continue on that path. So again, very good for the Winnipeg Jets that Laurent Brossoit is feeling good about his game. They will need him throughout the course of the season. And while he's had some victories so far, this was certainly his best performance on ice for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. We'll wrap up the post-game show with the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
The Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
Big thanks to our friends at Tough Duck for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. We're going to give tonight's Tough Duck hardest hitting comment to Brendan Matheson. Brendan, from about let's say 12, about almost 40 minutes ago, Laurent Brossoit, you can tell tonight he was a big reason why the Golden Knights, the Vegas Golden Knights, won the cup, one of the more underrated backups in the league. And if Laurent Brossoit continues to play like he did tonight, then that certainly will come to fruition. He was the reason the Jets won tonight. Absolutely tremendous. The expected goals for the Carolina Hurricanes game, I don't know if you saw it, but the expected goals were 4.89.
Ooh.
So given that he only gave up one, let me do some simple math. I believe that is goals saved above expected of 3.89, which is a great number for any goalie, and certainly a great one for the Winnipeg Jets backup goaltender, Laurent Brossoit. Brendan, congratulations on winning the Tough Duck hardest hitting.
I mean, you might not
comment.
need it again, Drew, because there's no winter.
There's no winter. Winter might don't.
It's gonna be 7
jinx
degrees
it,
on Thursday. You're gonna be wearing like shorts, for God's sakes, to BP.
Well, don't jinx it, but in that case, nobody will need to shovel to make their way to Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue on Thursday night. But Brendan, congratulations. Send me an email, drew@illegalcurve.com, or you can slide into my DMs on basically any of the social medias. I'm at
I keep saying social medias. You sound like 100 years old when you say that.
No, I'd sound like 100 years old if I said the social medias. Saying, it's like saying the Facebook or the Twitter or the Instagram. So I'm sort of playing with that, play on words a little bit. So I'm whatever social media you choose to contact me on, Brendan, send me your mailing address and we will send you a Tough Duck toque that you may or may not need, given Dave's guarantee that there is not going to be any winter this year.
I agree with Brent. I agree with Brent Bellamy's comment right here. Time to sign some free agents. Tell them it's always like this in winter.
There you go. They'll nothing. I'm heading to Kentucky soon enough for the holiday season. I can't help but wonder if it's actually going to be warmer or there's going to be more snow in Kentucky than there is in Winnipeg. I don't expect that to be the case, but stranger things have happened than that. So we'll find out about that. But of course, before we wrap up on this Monday edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show, one more reminder. Thursday night, I got it up here on the screen. Thursday night, Boston Pizza, Taylor Avenue, the Jets and the Colorado Avalanche, and then the Illegal Curve post-game show, a live broadcast on Thursday night at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, and of course, it still will be broadcast here on the YouTube channel. A lot of people asking about the clock. The people want to know about the clock in Kentucky.
Oh yeah,
it's almost clock time, folks. It's going to be exciting. A couple weeks away, it will be clock time on the post game show. And as we all know, there ain't no time quite like Kentucky clock time. So we will look forward to doing that. We'll look forward to joining you on Thursday night for the live on location broadcast, the post game show back here on the YouTube channel, wherever you may be in Winnipeg, outside of Winnipeg, we will be there enjoying everything to do with the Thursday night post-game show. Before we wrap up tonight, want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors. They make the post-game show, the Saturday show, the website, a possibility. Frosty Winnipeg has it up there on the screen. Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Farmery Brewing, the home of Illegal Curve Lager.
I'll be there tomorrow. If you want to come see me, I'll be at 2 Donald picking up some Farmery stuff for the next IC show.
There you go. So that coming up, number 2 Donald Street. If you are thirsty and you need a great Farmery beer product, potentially one with the Illegal Curve logo on it, Dave's got it in his hands right there. Get that, number 2 Donald Street. That's you can't miss it there at the Farmery beer retail outlet. Get your hands on some ice cold Illegal Curve lager. You can look forward to that. Big thanks to, of course, Farmery for their support. I mentioned our friends at Betway and Tough Duck. Boston Pizza will be there on Thursday. Seagram's, they're of course the sponsor of the shot of the game. Rolly's Transfer is also a big sponsor of ours, and we appreciate all the support we get from our sponsors. We appreciate all the support we get from you joining us here on the Illegal Curve post-game show, and of course Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. on the Illegal Curve hockey show. We appreciate all of you who joined us tonight. The Jets victorious 2-1 over the Carolina Hurricanes. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, leave us feedback here on YouTube, leave us feedback on iTunes, leave us feedback on Google Podcast, wherever you access this show.
Please do.
That's what we want to hear from you. We appreciate all of that. And we'll see you on Thursday night at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, anytime after 7:30 p.m. for the Jets and the Colorado Avalanche, and the live on location post-game show. Dave's got one thing to say. Go quick.
Just remember, tomorrow, Jets practice, Moose practice. We'll have it all. So if you want to be up to date, the most up to date you could be, stay tuned to our YouTube channel. Stay tuned to illegalcurve.com. Those are your places to be. You'll get all the audio, all of the video as soon as it's out. I don't think there's anybody quicker in the media right now. So as soon as it comes, as soon as we finish, it's uploaded. There ain't no delays here on Illegal Curve. We're fast that way. So as soon as it's available, we'll have it for you. Make sure you stick to it. And again, we'll have the Moose stuff, we'll have the Jet stuff. Both teams are practicing Tuesday, Wednesday, Hockey for All Center, because I think there's Cirque du Soleil, Drew. I'm sure you'll be there, Canada Life. So
I won't be, but good to know.
So Hockey for All Center.
I'm actually one of the on-stage participants. I'm a trapeze artist in my spare time.
I'm not surprised. You're quite limber. So anyways, we'll be at Hockey for All Center for the next couple of days, and we'll have it all covered. So again, illegalcurve.com and the old YouTube channel. Make sure you're subscribing. We appreciate that. Most people, so say our analytics, are subscribers when they're watching, but we want all of you to be subscribers. So please subscribe. Please make sure you're smashing that like button. And when you watch the videos, it doesn't kill. Hit those like buttons as well when it lets us know that you're appreciating what we're doing.
There you go.
And sorry, Brian Harder, the question, you're already answering it, but I'll answer anyways.
There you go.
Brian asked, our practice is open to the public. The ones at Canada Life are not. The ones that are at Hockey for All Center are. So the next couple of days, and again, just always stick with the Jets PR. I usually tweet it out at 8 o'clock in the morning on our 8 o'clock tweet. Tells you kind of what the Jets and Moose schedule is for that day, in addition linking to the papers. But Jets PR usually will give you the most up-to-date news. So that's one to stay attuned to. But we usually have it in the morning paper, in the notes, what the schedule is and where they are. And again, if it's at Hockey for All, then it is open to the public and you can go watch.
And then you can see a Fast Fingers Manuk in action as he gets the video and the audio and everything uploaded to illegalcurve.com and our YouTube channel. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We appreciate your support. As always, we'll see you in person. We'll see you virtually on Thursday night. For Dave Manuk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Jets win 2-1 over the Carolina Hurricanes. Until Thursday night, we wish you good night and good luck. Thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.